Hi, I'm CP Hoffman, the Legal Director at FreeState Justice. For those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, I joined FreeState as a staff attorney / pro bono coordinator in June 2019 and stepped into the role of Legal Director in February of this year. Since that time, we've welcomed two new staff attorneys, Lauren Pruitt and Mackenzie Dadswell, to our litigation team. We've also had the distinct joy of learning how to provide legal services to LGBTQ Marylanders in the midst of a global pandemic, which, let me tell you, has been a lot of fun. While there are many legal services organizations in Maryland, FreeState is the only legal service organization that's dedicated to meeting the specific needs of low-income LGBTQIA+ individuals across the state. And while there are a number of amazing organizations at the national level focused on representing the LGBTQIA+ community, their focus is largely on impact litigation that affects the most people, rather than the cases that make the difference in the lives of individuals. That's where FreeState Justice comes in. Whether it's helping a trans man change his name and identity documents to reflect his gender identity, advising a lesbian couple on second parent adoption, or representing a gay man who's been fired because of his sexual orientation, FreeState Justice is here to help LGBTQIA+ Marylanders with the legal issues that have a dramatic impact on their daily lives. But there's far more we could be doing. While we have an amazing panel of pro bono attorneys, our in-house legal staff is just 3 people, all of whom are regularly called upon for questions on a wide panoply of legal issues. With additional legal staff, FreeState Justice would be able to build up expertise in additional practice areas, develop training materials for our pro bono panel so that volunteer attorneys could be positioned to take on a wider variety of cases, support local and grassroots organizations to provide assistance directly to their communities, and better advocate on behalf of the people that need the most support and solidarity, including Black communities and other communities of color, transgender folks across Maryland, and incarcerated individuals. Your donation to FreeState Justice helps us to recruit and retain attorneys and other legal staff, support legal internships, and develop the resources used by our pro bono panel, and often by other legal services organizations in Maryland. And if you're a lawyer, consider joining our panel of pro bono attorneys. A little bit of your time can have a dramatic impact in the life of your client. And don't worry, if you're not barred in Maryland, we can help you get special authorization to represent pro bono clients. I look forward to hearing from some of you soon.
Hello everyone, I'm Eli Washington, Development Director at FreeState Justice. LGBTQIA causes across the country, including in Maryland, are disproportionately underfunded. As reported by funders for LGBT issues, LGBTQIA funding represents only 3% of overall foundation funding. Due to LGBTQIA discrimination and aversion to funding small organizations and advocacy, many LGBTQIA communities and organizations face obstacles to sustaining their resources. This makes our work now more important than ever as we help to support our community through the pandemic. Despite major policy wins to advance equality in our state, lived equity has not been fully realized, especially for our transgender and non-binary community, Black, Indigenous, and other communities of color. This makes it vital for FreeState Justice and our partners to diversify our funding support through foundations, corporations, government, and most importantly, individuals like you. In January 2020, we began our growth campaign, the Campaign for LGBTQIA Equity, a $1.1 million 2-year fundraising campaign to expand our impact and make Maryland a national leader in advancing LGBTQIA rights. If we are successful in raising these funds, we will expand our policy and advocacy, education and outreach, and critical legal services work to increase our ability to serve, educate, and advocate for our community. As of today, we are excited to share that we are over 70% to our goal and have raised $800,000. Help us to get to our goal. If you want to improve the lives of LGBTQIA Marylanders, we hope you will consider getting involved. Sign up to volunteer and share your time and skills by joining a committee. Contribute an in-kind donation, or support one of our issue action items in the Maryland General Assembly. If you are able, please join our leadership circle by making a donation of $1,000 or becoming a sustaining donor and contributing a dollar amount of your choice monthly. Together, we will advance the campaign for LGBTQIA equity.
Hi everyone, my name is Ezra Halstead. I use he, him, or they, them pronouns, and I am the Director of Education and Outreach at FreeState Justice. I have been with FreeState since January of 2019 when I started as a case manager on staff. I transitioned into my current role just weeks before the pandemic began, which of course had its own host of unexpected challenges. It also, however, led to some exciting developments, such as being able to reach a bigger audience online and therefore leaving a bigger impact towards our goals. While my current role has never existed in Free State's history, education and outreach has always been a core part of our work. One of the greatest challenges I've seen is that even with these huge policy wins, the access and equity that those wins are supposed to create is not often felt by community members. For example, still now, LGBTQ+ Marylanders continue to be discriminated against, fired from their jobs, denied affirming healthcare, and more, despite having these protections in place. In response to this disconnect, we have taken a multi-tiered approach to address this. First, ensuring that we equip the LGBTQ community on their rights through resources, client meetings, and various community outreach events is paramount to this. We always want to ensure our community comes first and influences everything that we do. Second, we educate service providers and allies on the core competencies on how to support and advocate for the LGBTQ+ community. And third, we seek out like-minded organizations to partner with on projects that increase our reach and referral network. And we have been able to successfully do many of these things. Over the past fiscal year, we were able to educate hundreds of service providers throughout the state. And we've partnered with many great organizations, including the One Love Foundation, to create an LGBTQ+ inclusive healthy relationships workshop. But as we all do, we have so much more to do and so much more room to grow. To increase our impact, we must enhance and diversify our training curriculum to be beyond these typical one-off engagements. We want to establish a relationship with those requesting training to gain a more meaningful experience for all. This will require extensive curriculum development and the recruiting and training of interns, volunteers, and other interested folks who will not only spread the word in their respective communities, but will also create and conduct various parts of the curriculum themselves, allowing them to gain a more meaningful professional development along the way. So how can you support this work? One way is you can become an organizational partner with us. There are various levels of partnership, some as simple as becoming a part of our referral network so that we can give clients your organization's information to access your services. You could also consider inviting us to your workplace for an event, whether that be a general 101 training or something more specific. Finally, you could consider sponsoring an intern to work with us here at Free State. I have been so incredibly lucky to have worked with amazing interns here. They're such valuable members of our team, and we want to be sure they're adequately compensated for their time, expertise, and help in expanding our overall capacity. Finally, I just want to say thank you all so much for joining us in our first ever virtual jazz brunch. I hope you enjoy it. Reach out to me anytime if you'd like to talk more about the ways you can get involved and support our work. Thanks so much.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Lemaster. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the Executive Director of FreeState Justice. I joined the team at the beginning of the summer during a very chaotic time. Anti-Black racism and violence continue to grip the nation, and a global pandemic has further highlighted economic precarity in our country. On both of these fronts, the LGBTQI community are disproportionately impacted in access to housing, employment, medical and mental health services, and safety from violence, and most importantly, in the freedom to live authentic and affirming lives. To complicate the summer, federal moves eroded protections for trans and non-binary folks nationally. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services released regulations eliminating protections and access to healthcare and insurance, while the Department of Housing and Urban Development proposed rules to allow for the exclusion of trans and non-binary folks in accessing homelessness services. But thanks to your support, we were prepared. Because of the policy work at Free State Justice and through our broad coalitions, LGBTQ Marylanders have state-level protections. Earlier this year, with the support of Delegate Kelly and Senator Feldman, we passed non-discrimination protections in healthcare and health insurance across the state. Additionally, Free State's work on the Fairness for All Marylanders Act in 2014 ensured that gender identity was added to our non-discrimination laws, which allows for trans and non-binary folk to have access to housing. This work highlights the importance of state-level policy work, and the work is not done. As anti-Black violence and economic inequality continue to impact the LGBTQ community, we have joined a number of coalitions to continue to improve the lived experiences of LGBTQ Marylanders. Our own policy agenda for this last legislative session was cut short by the pandemic. And with the uncertainty ahead, many important policy protections we were pursuing for LGBTQ youth, elders, and people of color now hang in the balance. But beyond our policy work, we also need to resource our direct services that really center LGBTQ folks in their work. I am beyond proud of the legal services we provide, but that is only one small part of building lived equity for LGBTQ Marylanders. We need to support access to dedicated LGBTQ healthcare, like through Chase Brexton. We also need to resource Black-led LGBTQ orgs, like Baltimore Safe Haven and the Baltimore Lesbian Alliance, as they provide emergency services for the most vulnerable in our community. In order to build collective power, all of our work needs to be adequately resourced. As we wrap up a 5-year strategic plan, we will be embarking on a new planning process in a new world. As a follow-up to our 2016 needs assessment, we will be launching a new needs assessment in order to strategize the priorities over the next 5 years, both in direct service delivery, community engagement, and inequity. Today, I'm inviting you to be a part of that process. There are a number of paths for engagement. You can join FreeState Justice Board Committee as a non-board member. You can support us through volunteer work, through in-kind service donations, particularly as we work to pivot and adapt to a new digital world. Skills like videography, graphic design, and media delivery are important more now so than ever. Lastly, you can lift up and support other LGBTQ community orgs. We are a large, diverse community, and collective power is critical in building lived equity for the entire state. Thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.